The storm had already swallowed the highway by the time I pulled onto Interstate 95. Wipers slapped uselessly, barely cutting through the wall of rain. I gripped the wheel tighter, whispering to myself, "You're fine, Lila. You passed your restricted test. You can do this." Headlights smeared into long white streaks. A horn wailed somewhere behind me. Then the Jeep skidded. Just a slip at first, like the road tugged my tires sideways, then a full drag across the lane. "Come on, hold, hold!" My voice cracked. A tractor trailer flashed across my windshield, its trailer swinging wide like an axe. Metal slammed into metal. The world snapped sideways. The seat belt crushed my ribs as the Jeep flipped. Once, twice. Glass burst around me like ice. Everything went silent. When sound returned, it came in pieces: sirens, voices, hands working fast. A man's voice near my ear said, "16-year-old female, multiple injuries. Let's move." My vision blurred as they rolled me through hospital doors. Someone pressed a mask to my face. "She's bleeding internally. Prep an emergency team." Another voice. "We're trying to reach her mother now." I wanted to tell them not to bother. Vivian was probably still at that spa on Hilton Head, wrapped in gold facial masks and silence. She had already forgotten I left the party alone. Somewhere above me, a nurse murmured, "Stay with us, sweetheart." The room spun harder. My chest tightened. My fingers slipped off the edge of the gurney. Before everything vanished, a single thought pulsed through me: if my story ever reaches someone who needs to hear it, keep listening. What comes next is the part nobody believes until they see it for themselves. Darkness swept in, heavy and complete. Voices swirled above me, sharper now, cutting through the fog. "Her spleen is ruptured, pelvic fractures. We have maybe 40 minutes, a doctor said. Get her guardian on the line. If they refuse or delay, we proceed under implied consent." A nurse lifted my phone. Her mother is listed first. The FaceTime tone beeped twice before Vivian answered. Soft spa music drifted through the speaker. She was lying on a lounge chair, a metallic gold mask covering her face. Sierra lounged beside her, filming herself in the mirror. "Mrs. Hart," the nurse said, steady but urgent. "Your daughter has been in a severe accident. She needs emergency surgery immediately." Vivian did not sit up. "Is she conscious?" "No." "And we are losing time." Vivian sighed, long and annoyed. "Well, if she does not make it, call me afterward. I am not leaving in the middle of a treatment." Sierra snorted. "Unbelievable. Take a screenshot." "Mom." She leaned forward and snapped one herself. "My blood." The tubes, the chaos behind me. The nurse's hand trembled. "Ma'am, your daughter could die." Vivian adjusted her towel. "Then handle it. You people are trained for that, aren't you?" The doctor leaned into the frame. "We are proceeding without you." Vivian blinked once. "Fine," she said, and ended the call. The room fell still. A resident muttered, "I have never seen that before." The nurse lowered the phone and whispered, "Call her grandfather. Call him now." And somewhere behind the pain pressing into my skull, I felt the air shift like the world had finally decided who was staying and who was already gone. The nurse dialed the next contact, Raymond Ashford, relation grandfather. He answered on the first ring. "What happened, sir? Lila has been in a major collision," the nurse said. "She needs emergency surgery. We have already begun preparations." His voice tightened. "Is she alive?" "For now." A beat of silence. Then, firm and immediate, "I am on my way. Do not let her be alone." The call ended before she could reply. "Down the hall," a doctor murmured. "He will not make it through this storm." The nurse shook her head. "He will." Minutes later, as they rushed me toward the operating room, another nurse called out, Her grandfather just arrived downstairs completely soaked. "Bring him up," the doctor said. Raymond reached my gurney breathless, rain still clinging to his shirt. "Lila," he whispered, gripping my hand gently. "I am right here." The surgeon held out a clipboard. "We need a signature." Raymond did not read a single line. "Do whatever saves her." He leaned close, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. "You hold on, sweetheart. I am not losing you." And that was the last thing I felt before the lights above me blurred into nothing. I drifted in and out while they worked on me, memories slipping through like frayed film reels. I was 7 again, sitting on the edge of my father's hospital bed. He whispered, "Be patient with the world. Lila, it takes time to see you." A week later, he was gone, and the house fell silent in a way I never forgot. Vivian filled that silence with parties and charity luncheons. When she married Marcus Hale, the house filled with polished floors, cold marble, and new rules. "Sierra needs the balcony room," she told me once. "You are older. You do not need the space." My trophies disappeared into storage boxes. My voice seemed to disappear too. Sierra grew into the center of every room, always shining, always loud. Vivian adored it. Marcus encouraged it. If I spoke, someone talked over me. If I asked for help, someone laughed like I was dramatic. Only Raymond saw me. He showed up every Saturday with groceries and stories. "You matter," he would say quietly, not for anyone else's ears. Lying unconscious years later, that truth was still the only thing holding me afloat. I floated somewhere between dreams and pain, but I heard voices low, tired, stubborn. Raymond's, "Doctor, talk to me straight." A surgeon answered, "Her pressure is unstable. We repaired what we could, but the next 48 hours are critical." Raymond exhaled slowly. "Then I will be here for all 48. Nurses tried to coax him toward the waiting room. "Sir, you need rest. I need her alive," he said. That is all. Sometimes I felt his hand around mine, warm and steady. Other times I heard him reading, his voice rough from sleepless nights. "This part is my favorite. Lila," he murmured once, reading from an old paperback. "Because the fight keeps going, even when the odds look bad." A resident whispered near my bed, "He has not left that chair in 11 days. Another replied softly, "She is the luckiest kid in this hospital." Raymond leaned close again, thinking I could not hear. "You fought harder than any grown man I ever worked with. So you fight now. Sweetheart, I will carry the rest." A nurse adjusted my monitors and murmured, "She heard you. Look, her numbers moved." Raymond let out a shaking breath. "That's it, baby girl. Come back." And for the first time since the crash, something inside me shifted toward the surface. I woke to the distant sound of papers shuffling. Raymond's voice was low, steady, but sharper than I had ever heard it. "You saw the call yourself," he said. "Tell me what we can do." Another man answered, calm and precise. "There is grounds for abandonment, Raymond. Clear grounds, but we need every detail documented." I recognized the voice Dane Whitlock, one of Raymond's oldest friends, a lawyer who never wasted words. A nurse stepped closer. "We saved the recording, and the screenshot the sister took. It is all in her file." Dane nodded. "Good. The court will need to see how deliberate it was." Raymond's jaw tightened. Vivian chose a massage over her child. Dane opened a folder thick with notes. She also refused a direct medical request to authorize surgery. In Georgia, that is considered willful neglect during a life-threatening emergency. Raymond exhaled, the sound heavy. "Then file whatever needs to be filed. We already have," Dane said. "A petition for temporary removal of parental rights, a civil claim for $380,000 in medical damages, and a report submitted to Sierra's school regarding her behavior. Raymond sank into the chair beside me. "You think this will hold, it will," Dane said, "especially after the process server delivers the documents. Deliver them where Raymond asked quietly." Dane gave a humorless smile. "To her riverfront mansion? She and Sierra are apparently getting ready for a 7-night Bahamas cruise." Raymond closed his eyes, grief and fury tangling in the lines of his face. "She almost died, Dane." "I know," Dane said softly. "That is why the court needs to hear it." His words settled into the room like a promise, and even half awake, I felt the world shifting in my favor for the first time. Light pressed against my eyelids, thin and persistent. When I finally blinked them open, Raymond was there, hunched forward, elbows on his knees. The moment he saw me move, his breath broke. "Lila," he whispered, standing fast. "Sweetheart, you're back." My throat felt raw, but his name scraped out. "Grandpa." He reached for the call button. "Do not talk yet. Let them check you." A nurse hurried in, smiling softly. "Welcome back, Lila. You gave us a scare." Raymond held up a small whiteboard he must have been reading for days. I squinted at the letters. Bold and unmistakable temporary guardian, Raymond Ashford. A tear slipped before I could stop it. "They changed it." Raymond nodded. "The court approved it 3 days ago." I swallowed the ache in my chest. She really did not come. His jaw worked once. She made her choice. Now we make ours. The nurse adjusted my blankets. "You're stable enough to discharge in a week. It will take months of therapy, but you can recover." Raymond squeezed my hand. "You will recover at my place on Tybee. The room is ready." I met his eyes, the truth settling deep. "Thank you for not leaving." He shook his head, voice thick. "I would cross 1,000 storms to get to you." News of the petition moved faster than I expected. By the time I could sit up on my own, Raymond was already off the phone with Dane, his expression carved from stone. "They were served this morning," he told me. I could barely lift my head. How did she react? He hesitated not to spare me, but to choose the words that hurt least. Vivian tried to say it was all a misunderstanding. Marcus shut the door in the server's face once the papers were handed over. A nurse stepped in to check my vitals. The call logs and screenshots were included. "Right, yes," Raymond said. "Everything." Later that afternoon, Dane visited. He slid a folder onto my lap. "You should know what's happening outside this room." Inside were printed messages, Sierra's screenshot, the captions she sent, the laughing emojis her friends had added. My chest tightened. "She is being reviewed by her school's disciplinary board," Dane said. "Cyberbullying during a medical emergency is taken seriously." Raymond folded his arms, and Vivian Savannah Society heard the story within hours. She was removed from 2 charity committees this morning. She also received a notice that the bank is reviewing the mortgage on the riverfront house. I stared at the papers in my lap. They're already falling apart. Dane's voice softened. "Actions have consequences. Lila, this is not revenge. It is accountability." Raymond sat beside me. "You focus on healing. Let their lives move the way they were always meant to." I closed the folder, hands trembling not from anger, but from the quiet shock of seeing the world finally shifting in my direction. Raymond touched my shoulder. "Their choices led them here. Yours will lead you somewhere better." The courthouse smelled like old paper and cold air when Raymond and I walked in. I moved without crutches, slow but steady. Every step a reminder of 13 months of physical therapy. Raymond stayed close, not guiding me, just there if I needed him. Dane met us outside the courtroom. "Vivian and Sierra are already inside," he said quietly. The judge agreed to play the recording first. When the doors opened, I felt their eyes before I saw them, Vivian sat at the defendant's table in a navy suit that hung too loose on her shoulders. Sierra slouched beside her, arms crossed, staring at the floor. The bailiff announced, "Case regarding termination of parental rights and civil damages. Present the evidence." The lights dimmed slightly as the FaceTime recording filled the room. My broken body on the gurney. The alarms. Vivian's voice, detached and polished. "If she does not make it, notify me afterward." A gasp rose somewhere in the gallery. Sierra's screenshot appeared next, my face swollen and bloodied, followed by her caption. "Looks like I get a quiet night for once," Vivian whispered sharply. That was taken out of context. The judge raised a hand. Silence. "Mrs. Hart." Dane nodded at me. "Lila, the court invites your statement." My throat tightened, but my voice held. "The crash did not break me," I said. Hearing my mother choose a spa treatment over my life did. I stopped expecting love from her that night. I started surviving instead. Vivian blinked rapidly, but she said nothing. Sierra kept her eyes on the floor. The judge folded her hands. "Mrs. Hart, the evidence shows willful abandonment of a minor during a life-threatening medical event. This court grants permanent termination of your parental rights. In addition, you are responsible for $380,000 in medical damages." Raymond let out a breath so deep it seemed to lift the weight of years. The judge turned her gaze toward me. "Miss Hart, or rather, Miss Ashford, after adoption is finalized, you are free." Her gavel struck once final, undeniable, and for the first time since the crash, I felt something inside me unclench, making room for a new life waiting just beyond those courtroom doors. The adoption hearing was small, just a wooden table, a judge with gentle eyes, and the man who had already been my real family long before any paperwork said so. When the judge asked, "Do you consent to adoption by Raymond Ashford?" my voice did not waver. "I do." Raymond squeezed my hand, just once. Afterward, he held the final document steady so I could sign my new name. Lila Ashford. The ink barely dried before tears blurred the page. Outside the courthouse, sunlight felt different, lighter, real. Raymond chuckled, wiping his eyes. "You ready to go home, kiddo?" "More than ready." Life moved forward the way healing always does, quiet at first. I finished high school, then earned my degree at the University of Georgia's coastal campus, studying psychology because I wanted to help kids who felt invisible the way I once did. Raymond never missed a milestone. He never missed anything. Years later, at 21, I stood on the back porch of our Tybee Island cottage, watching dolphins cut through the evening water. Raymond handed me a glass of sweet tea. "You know," he said, "someone listening to your story might find the courage they need." I smiled. "Then I hope they keep listening. What happened to me does not have to happen to them." He tapped his glass lightly against mine. "Tell it. Then. So here I am, telling it. And if you have made it this far, stay with me. There is more to come, and I want you there for all of it." Raymond nodded toward the shoreline. "Ready for tomorrow's fishing trip. Always," I said. And I meant every word.